AC Butch here, and let's go back to 1976, the year of my comeback. I'm sitting at Ovington Lanes in the bar with my partner and friend Larry. Yeah, and we're shooting the shit, and he comes up with this crazy idea. He says, "Why don't we get some exercise? Let's go bowling." I look at him like, "Oh, what are you, nuts? I haven't walked into a bowling alley in 10 years since I packed it in 1966. Yeah, my last match was at Lita Lanes when me and Douglas took the house down. Oh yeah, that whole story is on the website. But anyway, I gave it some thought, and all of a sudden, I don't know why, it didn't sound like such a crazy idea. What do? I get in the phone booth, because that's what they had back in those days, and I start calling up the local bowling alleys. None of them, and I mean none of them, were open. This kind of really surprised me, because last time I was on the scene, most of them were open 24/7. Anyway, you know, we both like taking a ride, just to kill some time, so we decided to go out to Green Acres. I could have called to check to see if they were open, but we said, now let's take a ride. Figured, yeah, okay, it's Thursday night. They always had the majors, which was the biggest league of the week, and they usually had action afterwards. We get there, it's open. Now, the thing is there action? We walk in, and I see way down on the right side, there's one pair of lanes with quite a few guys around it, and this is about maybe 2 a.m. I said, yeah, you know, this is it, this has to be. We walk down there, and this nut job, the beeper, is bowling. I mean, the guy literally beeps. He goes over the foul line by 3 feet. I mean, unbelievable. And he's being backed by this guy, Barry Bernstein. Sit down, start watching, and I strike up a conversation with Barry. You know, I mentioned years ago I used to bowl a lot of action. I was fairly good. But he let me in on what's happening in the world of action bowling these days. He said, you know, Thursday nights it's usually over here, or out in Kuskies, there's a lot more on Long Island. Saturday nights Raceway, Friday nights Whitestone Lanes, and there's quite a few different houses that have fairly big action. Sounded interesting, and somehow I got a little hooked. Started coming down, checking out a few of the spots, and it turns out that the biggest backer of all was Bill Daly. I mean, he was behind Jeff Kidder and Cliffy Berglund, plus a lot of other guys. And when Jeff was bowling, I mean, this was, it turns out he's one of the greatest action bowlers I ever saw. And they put up just anything. I mean, the pros, they don't care who it was. Big time action. Then there was Mac out at Kuskies, who put a lot of guys out on the pro tour. He owned a trucking company, and he also backed his guys usually against Bill Daly. I mean, for big money, like Jeff Kidder against Butch Soper, so on and so forth. And Barry was kind of third in the line. Now, Barry was a bowler, not too good in the 170s. I heard when he was younger a little bit better. Bill Daly happened to be a fairly good action bowler. I mean, this is a guy that was shooting at least a deuce. And I came up with this idea. I really felt like getting back in, but I didn't want to go after any big guns. That's crazy. You never make money that way. I wanted to bowl Barry Bernstein and then Bill Daly and take down a few years' pay. So what do? I start going down to Green Acres with Larry, because I know the night that Barry's going to be there. And me and Larry start bowling for money. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, Larry is terrible, and I'm doing everything I can to lose to him. I mean, I just took house shoes and a ball off the rack, and I'm shooting 150s, 160s, and I'm cursing, I'm getting aggravated. Why aren't I bowling better? I know I'm a great bowler, making myself look like a fool. Big roll of money, mainly a few big bills on top and maybe 100 singles under it. But Barry wanted to get in on this, and the hook was we wouldn't let him. We wouldn't let him. It's as though Larry had me as his personal pigeon. You know, we owned a cab company, so on and so forth. Anyway, the hook is finally set in, and after a couple of months, Barry agrees to bowl me agrees. He was saliving at the mouth. Down in Times Square, Lanes. Well, whatever. I didn't have the cash to bowl that kind of action. I'll be honest with you. But I called my good buddy Douglas, and at this time he owned a Amco transition place out in Jersey. And he just ripped everybody off. I mean, when it came to transmissions, you walked into Dougie's Amco joint and you needed one, believe me. But I met him down there that night. He came down with his brother. We had a few hot dogs first, and his brother, big good-looking guy, very muscular, and he was carrying. Oh yeah. He has a permit because with his business he carries a lot of cash. So we walk in, and the atmosphere was like out of a movie. Now it so happens that we were about the only white people in the place. I couldn't figure out what was going on. But this is an older type house. The atmosphere I really like. I mean, I like old houses. Yeah, Butch always did. I greet Larry. Well, actually, Larry didn't come. There I go with the beats the mouth. It gets carried away because Douglas and Larry weren't getting along. They were on the outs. I made Larry my partner anyway, and he had nothing to lose. But hey, that's the way life goes. So anyway, we get up on the lanes, me and Barry. We throw a few practice balls, and now the match begins. Douglas stands up with a big wad of hundreds in his hand, and right off the bat he says he's covering the house. We started betting, I don't know, Barry wasn't putting up all that much. The outside put up some money, betting maybe $400 or $500, I think, right from the get-go. I won the first game, and if I remember correctly, I purposely threw the second one. And then I wanted to keep it close, which wasn't that easy to do because I was already bowling pretty good, and Barry he was terrible. I mean, like I say, 170s bowler. But make a long story short, after about beating him 8 or 9 in a row after that, we were up a few $1,000s, and Barry asked me to bowl on a marker. In the meantime, he had been going into the back office taking money. I don't know, maybe he owns the joint. I really don't know. I know it was in the garment industry. He owned a business down there. And I said, Barry, I really don't bowl that way. I mean, where does it end? I just don't believe in bowling markers. But I said, listen, I'll give you one marker for $2,500. He goes, okay. I beat him that game, and now all told, hey, we pulled down at least $6 grand. The following week at Green Acres, just like clockwork, $2,500 in cash in my hand, and that was the beginning. That was the beginning of a great year, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. And it's all the lead up to bowling Bill Daly at Kuski's, but a lot of action in between. Right now, once again, going for lunch. I'm going to have a cocktail. See you a little later.